Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Salah Saturnima, and I will present about driving back the issue of speaking anxiety among EFL Indonesian secondary students from possible causes to practical implications. Mastering English language skills can be very challenging for Indonesian EFL learners, since several problems can be faced during the process of mastering in the language. Among other challenges, anxiety becomes one of the major issues for many language researchers as they extend the focus and interest from teachers into the students. Problem in the EFL classroom. The term anxiety relates to a psychological condition where the subject experiences the feeling of apprehension and fear due to the association with a particular object. Many EFL researchers of Indonesia have also investigated the possible causes and adverse impact of the students' anxiety. For instance, the issue of anxiety can inhibit the students' performance and motivations as they train to avoid participation in speaking class and make use of language acquisition process through learning activities. Consequently, when anxiety occurs in speaking activities, it can be assumed that the Indonesian EFL secondary student will not be able to maximize the learning activities in the classroom. In contrast to the above condition, the Indonesian Ministry of Education and Culture struck the process standard of Curriculum 2013. The teachers to conduct the learning activities which can encourage the students to participate actively in the classroom. Consequently, this objective will be far from being achieved successfully in the anxiety issues this occurs in most of the EFL classroom in Indonesia. Therefore, it is critical to examine the nature of anxiety as well as the critical solution to alleviate this issue. From the discussion above, I will show the answer, the research. The first is, what are the possible causes of EFL learners speaking anxiety, and what are the practical implications that both teachers and students can do in order to alleviate this adverse issue? Thus, anxiety, as the name suggests, relates to the learner nervousness while they are conducting a test that stems from being afraid of failing to perform the test successfully. Fear of a negative evaluation deals with the learner's perception. Due to the learner's perception, they will be criticized negatively by their peers or teachers when they are practicing or performing the language skill. This situation can occur in various contexts of language learning, including oral exams or presentation. Communication apprehension, as the last component, is defined of a type of sadness characterized by fear of anxiety about communicating with people. In this category, the students are and confidence to communicate with other people as they perceive that they do not possess the adequate language skill to interact with the other people. The above if FLA categories proposed by Hart et al. Will be discussed further while exploring the possible cause of anxiety in the discussion part beside considering the discussion of the FLA categories proposed by Horowitz et al. 1896. I will show they explore other relevant sources to discuss the possible causes of speaking anxiety in Indonesian EFL secondary context, as well as the possible solution to avoid the issue, which will be explained in the following section. Okay. The first is the causes of speaking anxiety. In considering the issue of anxiety in speaking classroom, many English language teachers and researchers in the EFL countries focus on the time to elevate the issue by revealing the contributing factor of anxiety and the way to deal with the issue. Among the other causes of anxiety experienced by the student in speaking classroom, the most salient factor include fear of negative evaluation or making mistake. Second is affective related causes. Fundamentally, the two categories of EFLA are close related to the affective related causes since both components are linked with the student's negative expectation toward the self-evaluation and others to perform language skill, including speaking. Furthermore, recent empirical studies show that fear of negative evaluation or making mistake and lack of motivation or confidence are the most salient affective related factor of anxiety. Number 3 is linguistic related causes. Communication apprehension, as one of the FLA categories proposed by Horowitz et al., is related to the student's incapacity to communicate with others since they are not equipped with adequate linguistic attributes including grammar and vocabulary. Furthermore, many researchers also outline that communication apprehension is caused by limited extensive background knowledge and vocabulary of the learning topics being discussed, which lead them to feel anxious and unable to perform speaking skills. Next, practical implications to address the issue of speaking anxiety. The above discussion regarding the possible causes of speaking anxiety signify the need to address the competitive learning atmosphere and the unbalanced focus on linguistic forms and speaking opportunities, which eventually may correspond to the student's speaking anxiety. Promoting cooperative learning atmosphere. In the previous section, it is evident that affective related causes are fear of negative evaluation, fear of making mistakes, and lack of motivation or confidence stem from the competitive and demotivating learning atmosphere of students are always worried about being compared with others in the classroom as well as making mistakes which eventually lead to more anxiety-provoking learning ambience. Okay, next is balancing the impact of linguistic accusatory and meaning speaking practice. In the second possible causes of anxiety, it has been discovered that students can feel anxious when the learning activities tend to emphasize linguistic form excessively, which limit the opportunities to involve in a meaning speaking practice in the classroom. Okay, next is conclusion. In the conclusion, the primary purpose of this presentation is to scrutinize the possible causes and impact of speaking anxiety as well as the critical solution to alleviate the issue. According, it has been discussed that effective related and linguistic related causes can contribute the students' anxiety. In the effective related factors, the student fear of negative evaluation, fear of making mistakes can lead to their different attitude to perform speaking skill. Moreover, limited vocabulary and grammar, as well as limited opportunities to engage in meaningful speaking practice in the classroom become the linguistic related cause of speaking anxiety. In the classroom become the linguistic research as speaking anxiety in relation to the key solutions to alive the issue. This presentation has examined the importance to encourage the cooperative learning atmosphere in the classroom, as well as the needs to promote learning strategies which can balance the opportunities to practice speaking skill without overlooking the focus on linguistic accuracy. That's all for me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.